U.S. President Donald Trump's special order to deploy special troops in Washington, D.C. has been met with mounting criticism. Trump took over federal police in the American capital under a special provision. But now political opponents and critics are asking, are other parts next? In fact, this comes as 800 troops started trickling into National Guard headquarters after Trump launched a bid to combat crime in the capital. Many from the blue camp, in fact, have labeled it as political theater. Some residents also feel the takeover is unnecessary. In fact, several leaders are now on edge after Trump named other cities which he says have an alarming crime rate that need to be curtailed. And New York mayor has criticized the U.S. president's takeover and warned that the police can take care of law and order without intervention from the White House.
We have the finest police department on the globe. People come here to be trained, and people speak with us to get assistance. And so if the White House wants to help us in what we're doing to continue our success, and if we can help other cities, municipalities, they may want to ask us to come in and help other cities. We're willing to go into other cities and help them as well. But we don't need anyone to come in and take over. We got this under control.
Citizens are divided on the move. While many Trump supporters hailed the decision as an effort to lower crime rate, those opposed are accusing the U.S. president of targeting cities led by African-American elected officials. The allegation comes after Trump named Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and Oakland in his press conference, all of which have black mayors and a substantial population of people of color. And with us on the broadcast is Joanna LeBlanc, a political analyst, national security law analyst, and foreign relations expert with us from Washington, D.C. Thanks very much for giving us your time here. Let me begin by asking you for your perspective on what you see happening here. And if Donald Trump does expand this move to other parts, what would that look like?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to note that President Donald Trump is a president that is not afraid of utilizing his power, right? And that is something that we have not always witnessed with previous presidents. So the District of Columbia is unique in a sense that President Trump does have the legal authority to deploy National Guards to address issues in the event of a national emergency. President Donald Trump has indicated that the crime that is happening in D.C., very similar to what happens in places all around the world in terms of crime rates, amounts to a national security, amounts to an emergency rather. Therefore, he is able to deploy the National Guards. And also he's indicating that he will do the same thing in other states. However, he will run into some legal challenges because unlike D.C., states have governors, states have mayors, and he can't just deploy the National Guard to those respective states. I do anticipate if that were to happen, those states will take legal actions against the president.
Right. What do you make of that very allegation that Donald Trump is specifically targeting a certain type of cities and parts? And do you sense that there is a larger message that the U.S. president is trying to send out, in terms of the kind of moves that have been made so far?
I think the message the president is trying to send out is that, look, I will use my power, the power that has been invested in me by the Constitution. And I will also test my limits as the president of the United States. So it is on the governors and the respective mayors in cities across America to challenge the president's actions if needed. Now, are there violence in different cities across America? Certainly. The question is, does it amount to a national emergency? And the president has said yes. The president has made the assessment, and he said there is a national crisis around the country. But I do think, though, and I think Mr. Trump knows this, he's definitely testing his limits in terms of what he can and cannot get away with. And I think a lot of us here, we're asking ourselves, wow, we really didn't know a president could exercise that much power. But I think the greater takeaway from this is that Mr. Trump will exercise his power, and he will check his limits and limitations as the President of the United States of America.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.